Many times people will refer to young men and women who are dating and say, oh, well, on the second date and by the third date and by the fifth date, this is what it should be, or this is how it should be. I erase all that. Numbers don't mean anything to me. And I prefer to talk about the dating process, that there are stages of dating. And I'm going to bring it down to 3 stages. And with the acronym of ADD, attraction, direction, and the third one is almost like a double D, is disclosure and decision. And let me take a minute to explain to you each one of these stages. Stage number 1 is called attraction. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is an attraction, okay? Stage 1 is really the time when you need to just, it's kind of the icebreaker. For some people, it could be just 1 date. For others, it might be 2 or 3 dates. The reason why I don't like when people number what's going on and what happened by this date, because every single person is different. And we know you're supposed to educate each person according to their way, not according to somebody else's way. So how is it going for you? And even you, maybe you went out with someone else a while ago, but now the combination of you and this new person is completely different. So the first stage is take the time to just get to know each other in the way of breaking the ice. We don't get personal yet. Nothing personal. Basically, a first date is an audition to see whether you want to have a second date. Okay? So sometimes from the get-go, you might see the girl and think, hey, she's kind of cute. Or the girl might look at this young man and say, I like the way he dresses, or he has a warm smile. That's okay. Or there could be none of that at all. But before you become vulnerable and before you become personal, you have to just talk about neutral things. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you were traveling on an airplane and some person sat down right next to you. Would you ask them deep personal questions? Absolutely not. You would start off with just being friendly. Share a funny story, a joke, something going on in the news, something going on around the world. Talk about Israel, talk about politics, whatever it may be, right? But you're not going to ask them personal. That's similar to the first stage of dating. So that's the attraction. Then we come to stage 2, direction. And what I'm going to say is, here's where most of your dating is going to happen. Almost all your dating is going to be in the direction. And this is the place where you're going to take the time, slowly, little by little. You will become vulnerable and you start to share and you start to, not necessarily in the order I'm going to say, but you start to learn about each other. Okay? What are your goals? What is your mission statement? How's your relationship with your family? How's your relationship with friends? What makes you happy? There's a little secret to stage 2. And I always tell the young girls and boys that I talk with is you have to stay positive. You're not allowed to discuss anything negative yet, or you're not such perfect qualities. You will get the chance to do that, but now is not the time. First, you want to look for the good in the other person. Okay, the Rebbe always says, first look for the good in the other person. So you're going to use the beginning, those dates, when you're starting to get to know each other, learn the nice and special things about the guy or the girl sitting across you. And as you build up, and you get to know more and more, that's stage 2. You're going to learn all about each other. What's important to you? What's your life goals? How do you feel about having children, raising children, etc., etc.? Many, many questions. And when you've already created some kind of a flow and some kind of perhaps a chemistry, or you feel that magnetic connection, force coming towards you or something like that, then and you really kind of like each other now. And again, that whole stage, why you need to look for the good first, goes on a very long explanation, which I'm not going to do now, but we can at some time. We then come to, and again, so stage 2, how many dates is that? I don't know. You're in the driver's seat. You get to say how many dates that is. And we know one thing, you don't need a rush. You take your time. And then when we get to stage 3, now you're feeling like you like each other. There is something there. There's a lot of things that you see eye to eye. There's a lot of things that, you're feeling good. So then is the time when you start to share your not such perfect qualities or your weaknesses. And you're going to learn maybe your weaknesses complement his strengths and vice versa. And then when you've had a chance to share those things or other little things, then you get to the last thing of decision. that you decide, are you for each other and do you want to make a life together? And I found with all the young men and women that I work with, when they use it in the stages, it is so much more productive and so much more helpful. It's amazing.